Hello and welcome to Charlotte Astrology. My name is Charlotte. I'm a full-time working astrologer, and on this channel I analyze the astrological charts of public figures. And very often they are celebrities, and they normally come in the form of actors, artists, musicians, royalty, social media personalities, serial killers, politicians, all sorts of people. But today's a little bit different. I haven't looked at someone like him before. He wears many different hats. In Australia, he is a TV show host. He runs, is it the Australia Zoo in Queensland? I think that's the name of the zoo. If I'm wrong, please correct me in the comments. So he helps run his family business, and he's basically taken up the position of his father. Who established the family business many years ago, and that is the lovely, the darling Australia's son, Robert Irwin, who of course is the son of Steve and Terry Irwin. So he's gone viral recently because all of a sudden he just became a man and he modeled for Bond's underwear. So he chucked a bad bunny basically, and I'm very confused because I thought he was a child. He's not a child. Anyway, I'm old enough to be his teen mum, and that's just a bit too weird. So, yeah, Gen Alpha, Gen Z, congratulations. He really seems like a really nice young man, and I just hope he stays that way, and I think he will. He's so lovely, and he's so kind, and you know what? He's beautiful, and he really likes women because he was raised by a single mother. I mean, first of all, his parents were good people and they loved each other. His father passed away in 2006, just before he turned 3 years old. So he's not had his father around, but he's turned out beautifully. And Terry did such an amazing job. The woman is a saint. She has been adopted by Australia. She's ours now, so we love her. And he's got a lovely sister, and the Irwins just seem like just a really nice family, and I'm really happy for them. But it looks like this young man, he's the new it boy, and yeah, I want to take a look at his chart and figure out what's going on with him, his personality, his career path. I know he's going to follow in the footsteps of his father and continue to do conservation work and animal rights stuff, I guess, and work at the zoo. But I think he's going to be doing it in his own way. So yeah, he'll carve a different path. So we're going to have a look at that. Before I dive in, I want to let you guys know I'm quickly filling out for 60-minute readings. I'm moving house in June. And so I've only got a few more spots. For 60-minute readings, I only have a few more spots. So if you would like to meet me in the Zoom room, book that as soon as possible because there's limited, I think there's 5 or 6 spots at the moment. Book it now before I get busy. Otherwise, I'm always going to have 15-minute recorded readings, which are recordings of my voice and analyzing your chart. The 15-minute ones are for transits, full chart readings, and synastries. And then I do smaller ones, 5-minute readings, which are for specific parts, specific areas of your chart or your life that you would like insight into. And that's the best way to support me. And I also have my members where I put extra content on there. It's another great way to support me. It's just one tier. It's £5 a month, and it just keeps my lights on, keeps me going. And if you don't want to do any of that, just subscribe, comment, click the bell. I'd be really grateful if you could help me with the algorithm. Okay, thank you. Okay, so let's have a look at Robert Irwin's chart. So as you can see here, he is a Capricorn rising. And he's got a sun in Sagittarius, and it does lie with Pluto, not in a conjunction, but they are lying together. He's got Sag Mercury as well, Venus in Capricorn. He's got Chiron not too far away, so a lot of Sag and Cap. And then this is beautiful because he's got some water placements, which makes him so empathetic and so kind. He's got a Pisces moon, and he's got a Pisces Mars as well. Yeah, so quite a lot going on. Oh yeah, and he's got Jupiter and Virgo in the 9th, which is really interesting. It opposes everything. It's not the worst. it's just high pressure. We'll get into it. Okay, so what can I say about this boy? He is going to be known for his beauty. Okay, so he's got a midheaven. So when we talk about the midheaven, it's the highest point in the chart. It represents your public image. Not necessarily what you want from the world or what the world wants from you. And it can be really difficult when you don't have planets up there. It's hard to embody that energy. He is a Libra. He is gorgeous, right? Venus on the clam, you know, the Venus on the clam, like floating onto the bay. Like he's just beautiful. And the ruler of the midheaven is Venus, and that lies in Capricorn. And if we were to look at this in whole sign, this Venus would play into the first house, which is like physical appearance. So even though he's here doing, I would describe him as a bit of a diplomat. I don't know what the status of his citizenship is. He's definitely Australian. I'm wondering if he's allowed to have dual citizenship because his mum's American. But anyway, with the midheaven in Libra, he's going to be somewhat of a diplomat. And I think that's kind of what he's turning into. He's a diplomat for Australia, not in the official sense, in like the government negotiation overseas sense, but he's going to be a bit of a poster boy, right? Kind of like a more like a cuter, gentler, more wholesome version of what Paul Hogan was in the 80s, right? He's going to be known for how good looking he is and how charming he is. And with Libra there, he's not here to cause fight. He's not here to separate people. He's not here to fight for anything or anyone. He's here to bring people close together. He's here to tell stories. He's right, because that's what Libra is. You know, if you think of Libra, as one of the signs of autumn, that's when people huddle together to get warmer and tell stories around the fire. It's that time of year where the skies are their most beautiful and fuchsia pink, and you just gaze at their glory and their beauty, and right, that's what Libra is, and that's who he is, where he's here to be looked at, but he's here to bring people together. So I think he's going to be really good for the country. He's going to be really good for Australia. And the big draw is that he's pretty. Because his Venus, which governs that midheaven, is sitting in the same sign as his ascendant. It's going to cause I think he's going to be a bit uncomfortable with it. He's got a pretty practical, listen, Libra, we love Libra, but and I'm a Libra moon, right? But it's a pretty superficial sign, right? He's not a superficial boy. He's really not. His Venus lies in a sign that wants substance. I think in terms of what he wants in relationships, he wants someone he can work with. I hope this doesn't sound weird. He wants someone who's like his mum, or at least the relationship that his mum and dad had. He wants that because he is perpetuating the legacy of his family. The person that he chooses is going to be somewhat of his queen consort, Like, you got to remember, Steve Irwin and Terry Irwin, they are now kind of like they're like a royal family. The Irwins are somewhat of a royal family, right? And if he gets into a relationship, it's going to be very public, and the person that he chooses is going to have to be an animal lover, is going to have to want to potentially move to outback Queensland or wherever the bloody hell this zoo is. I don't know where it is. I've never been. I should go. Yeah, there's going to be a lot of sacrifices that are required on the part of his future spouse, and I do think he will get married. Because Venus and Capricorn, they want. I always use this analogy. Venus and Capricorn people, for them, a feeling is not enough. Sexual attraction, or the butterflies in the tummy, like those are things that they can feel, yes, but it's not enough to get them to put a ring on someone's finger or to make that commitment, right? They want someone who knows how to use a bazooka in the zombie apocalypse. That's the type of woman he needs, or man. I'm not sure. I feel like he's had a girlfriend, right? He's into girls. Sorry. Misspoke, sorry. He needs someone that he can work with, and I think because it is an earth sign, he wants like a traditional relationship. I think his love life is going to be tabloid fodder though, just because there are some. Let's have a look here. There's an opposition to. Poor boy, he's so pretty. People who have Venus on the ascendant, they can have a lot of trouble with their love lives because people want to be with them for the wrong reasons, right? It's kind of like Cameron Diaz. Look how long it took her to settle down to have a, have a husband and children. It took her until her 40s to find the right person, after many years of searching. And he might have a similar kind of journey with that, just because people with Venus on the ascendant, although they are blessed with being either very beautiful or very charming or very charismatic, if Venus is sitting on your face, on your ascendant, people want to be with you because you've got that glow, because you've got that halo, because you've got that wealth, that charm, that charisma, that beauty. What happens if you lose all your money? What happens if you get ugly? What happens if you get disfigured? What happens if you get fat? So people with Venus on the ascendant, they can be loved for the wrong reasons. And this is made worse by this Saturn placement, because Saturn is opposed here. So there's obviously trouble with relationships that may be related to the absence of the father. I think the absence of the father will impact the way he dates, because he hasn't have that role model. I have a lot of faith that he's going to be okay, but there is a hurdle here because he hasn't seen he doesn't remember, likely. He hasn't seen his parents demonstrate love towards each other, even though they very much did. It's like this big hole has been left inside of his heart. And so that's the challenge here. To find someone who genuinely loves him for who he is, someone that can work with him, someone that can help build the family business with him. These things are really, really important. Now, Saturn here, which opposes that Venus, which is a hard aspect. Saturn in the same sign as the descendant. If we did this whole sign, Saturn's in the 7th. That is really challenging relationships, and probably relationships that have the public eye on them. So if you got Saturn in the 7th house, because Saturn is a generational planet, and because it's it governs 10th house Capricorn and Aquarius, there's going to be a lot of public attention in that area. So whoever he dates, there's going to be a lot of public scrutiny. It's going to be very difficult on his partner. I would recommend for him to not get married until after his Saturn return. If you have Saturn in your 7th house, you definitely need to wait until your Saturn return or after your Saturn return to get married. I beg you, please. I've seen enough. You know how many thousands of people I've seen in 5 years with this placement? Trust me, I've done the legwork. I've got the stats on it, okay? So yeah, it is a bit of a divorce placement, to be honest. It doesn't mean you're definitely going to get a divorce. That's why I always tell people, wait till Saturn return. It's nicely aspected with Jupiter. It's nicely aspected with Mars. He knows how to be disciplined. He's very sensitive. Mars and Pisces trine Saturn in Cancer. It's a good thing he's got this business, because if he didn't have this structure, this business, and these working relationships with all the people that he knows, through his family, through the zoo, the family business, I think he'd be lost. I think he'd be, because Mars and Pisces is not the most practical Mars placement. They're very loving people. It's like Marilyn Monroe said, she's a Mars and Pisces. I just want to be wonderful. I just want to create art. I just want to create beauty in the world. But that's why Mars and Pisces is just a really difficult placement, because yeah, it's not practical, right? It's one of the worst Marses, actually. No offense to you lovely people with this placement. A lot of you guys are really lovely people, but you do my bloody head in. So yeah, I think he needs some solid people around him. Saturn also, when Saturn's in the 7th house, there needs to be a good clean out of friends. There needs to be a lot of work in your relationships. It takes a lot of effort, but it keeps him disciplined. If he's got good people around him, he's on time, he works hard, it's good, right? So if he's in a crappy relationship, the work will suffer and he might get disgraced. So yeah, he needs to really watch that. Yeah, okay. I'm just having a look around. North Node in Taurus, in the 5th house, children. Oh, children, yeah. Children, creativity, that kind of stuff. He doesn't have any planets here. He's got the vertex in a conjunction, finding that loving soulmate. Because the vertex is your second descendant, right? I wonder if he might. Will he have a couple of marriages or a couple of long-term relationships? I'm wondering about that. I am really. North Node. North Node trines the ascendant. It's nicely aspected. It's not too bad. He needs to. Okay, so fifth house is like leisure, pleasure, children, all those things, having fun. But it's in a very practical, like it's in the sign of Taurus, so it's very earthy. It's nicely aspected his ascendant. It's nicely aspected Chiron. So helping, healing, having fun. Like there's like it's like a bit of all these things are weaved together. North Node in Taurus is about having stable money, so having his own money, his own wealth. North Node in the fifth house is about joy and creativity, so making money through joy and creativity, that's what he does now. And it's also through children. So I wonder if he's going to shift at some point, especially when he becomes a father, which I think he will. I think he should, because these genes need to be passed on. He's a good man. He's beautiful and he's kind. Absolutely, he should have babies. This is very wholesome. I think as he gets older, he's going to make a really good dad. He's gonna and his career will grow through that. He's gonna be known as a family man. He is a Sag though. He's got Sag and Pluto and Mercury all together. So, and here's the thing: in a whole sign that plays out in the 12th house. Super sensitive, very adventurous, very sensitive. He needs to be careful though. I'm going to count that as a square. Jupiter it's a big orb, but it squares the sun. So there may be a little bit of hedonism. And it doesn't have to be in terms of food and sex. It could be his dad was a bit like that, a bit too, he got himself into some dangerous situations. Jupiter in the 9th house of overseas travel and higher learning. It conflicts with the sun, which is like ego and self-expression. So if he was to be a bit of a show off, because his dad was a little bit like that. God bless his heart, he was a good man, but he was a show off. And in his life, I do distinctly remember him getting a lot of criticism for being really careless and putting himself in danger more than anything. He never really put other animals in danger. He put himself in danger. And I worry about that. History sometimes repeats itself. Not all the time, but it does. So I just think he needs to be careful. He needs to be aware of that. He needs to be following OH&S laws in Australia. That is for bloody sure. Okay. And then he's got a sun square moon. I mean, sometimes that speaks to a difficulty with the parents, but I think this is the parents were separated, not because they were fighting. They were separated because his dad died, and it was very sudden, and it was very shocking, and it was very difficult. So the sun and moon square is like a difficulty with the mum and the dad. Also, there is a clash here because the sun in Sagittarius wants to be, on an adventure and wants to explore the world. And I want to learn things and know things. And it's a bit of a vagabond energy. It's like the traveler energy, and that conflicts with the moon, which is like the domestic sphere, his sense of home, intimacy. And I think being this big rising star, being this big shiny celebrity is going to conflict with his personal life. It's going to hurt him a little bit because he is quite emotionally introverted and incredibly sensitive, deep down, But then there's this other part of him that is incredibly ambitious and wants to just bust out and see the world. So this very extroverted Sagittarius sun does conflict with this very introverted Pisces moon. When you have a sun and moon opposition or square, there's these two different parts of you. It's like there's two different people here. You need different things. And when you make one happy, the other one's upset. Then you make the other one happy, the other one's upset. Because if he was just to stay at home and stay in Australia and, you sit on the couch and be with his girl and be with his family all the time, I think he'd feel like he's missing out on something. He's missing out on the adventures and the lessons and, so he's got to learn how to, I think he needs to have all his fun when he's young, at least up until his Saturn return or after his Saturn return, and then he can figure it out. So he's a man. He's got the privilege of time and fertility. So he'll be okay. I just want to mention he's got Chiron, not in a conjunction, but they are sitting together. Chiron and Venus are together here, so a bit of a wounded heart. And again, this is the third thing that tells me that he's going to have some difficulty with his love life. And I think there may be a little part of him that's like, he's so humble. Obviously he's beautiful. Obviously some part of him knows that he's a good looking young man. But I think there's another part of him that's like, ooh, I'm really uncomfortable with being looked at. Like, I'm not that good looking. Like, I'm not Hemsworth, brother. I'm not, I think there's a little bit of self-doubt or maybe imposter syndrome that may creep in from time to time with this. Chiron on the ascendant, he just wants to help people. He's good. And like Venus in the same sign as his ascendant, he wears his heart on his sleeve. Like, he's a darling. He's such a darling boy. Yeah. I'm not going to say much because I don't like to manifest bad shit, and that's not going to happen with him. But he needs to be really careful with like safety things. Like, if he's going to continue working with animals or go deep sea diving or things like that, he needs to be so careful. In fact, I would tell him to stay the bloody hell out of the ocean. Just because this is all I'm saying, okay? He's got his 8th house, which is the death house, in Leo, right? What's the ruler of Leo? The sun. The sun is over here in a conjunction with Pluto, which actually is the planet associated with the 8th house as well. And they're sitting together playing out in the 12th house in another water house. I'm just like, just stay away from the water, young man. Stay away from the water. You learned your lesson through your dad. You don't need to, you don't. Just stay on dry land, please. And don't fiddle around with the crocodiles too much. That's what I'm saying. These T-squares are very difficult. Mars opposite. He needs to be so careful because he can just like do things. He just does things. Oh, that's a good idea. Like, I feel like he's got that in him. He needs to be so careful because that Mars and Jupiter, and then it's got a T-square with the sun. Also, there's another T-square, the Jupiter and the moon and the sun. And Pluto, actually. There's a lot going on here. He's like pulled in all these different directions. I want to go outside. I want to have an adventure, but I want to stay home and I want to be with my family. But I also want to and then it's like he rushes. I feel like he's going to rush things. I got to do this and I got to do that and I got to please everyone. And that's where you get in trouble, young man. Money, in terms of money, he'll be fine. I think money goes up and down in his life because that Neptune and Uranus are in the 2nd house. Now, I have this placement. Money's like, he's always going to have it. It's nicely aspected. Might need some help with finances. But if you have generational planets in the 2nd house, yes, it can be up and down money, but it can also be money through really unusual things, like through spiritual things or through the internet or because they're generational planets, so they govern the public to a certain extent. So he makes money from the public. He's got Aquarius. Aquarius is on his 2nd house cusp as well, which is governed by Uranus. So yeah, a lot of the money that he makes is through public interactions, the internet, technology, dealing with people, right? Yeah, and that works, actually. That's very favorable with his midheaven because his midheaven's at 13 degrees. And I know that there's no blue line, but it joins up with that 10 degrees Neptune. So that's whenever Neptune trines another, like a placement in the chart, like a natal, like when Neptune trines a planet or a certain spot in the chart, it's kind of like a halo, like a holy halo, humanitarian, kumbaya, want to save the world kind of energy. And that's what he's got here in money houses, right? The planet of like God, essentially God, spirituality, generosity, charity, kindness, all that stuff playing out in his 2nd house in a trine with his midheaven, right? So he's going to be dealing with, I think a lot of the work he's doing is for like humanitarian or environmental or animal rights causes. That's where he does really well. And that feeds into his role as like an international diplomat for Australia, especially between Australia and America, because like he is basically American, right? He's American Australian. He's more Australian because he was raised here, but he's still, he's still got, He's still American. He looks very American, actually. He looks like he just looks like the popular high school boy of an American TV show. That's what he kind of looks like. Anyway. Anyway, that's all I have for you guys. I hope you enjoyed that. I'm gonna see you in the next video. And if you have any more suggestions, can you please put them in the comments below? What do you think of Robert Irwin, by the way? Are you young enough to think he's cute? I'm too old. I don't think he's cute. He's a child. Anyway, I'll see you guys soon. Bye.